After 20 years, my darling, I finally see you, Fatima whispered, her eyes, once milky and vacant, now sharp as glass. Ali stumbled back, his wine glass clattering to the polished floor, red liquid blooming like a wound on the white marble. Fatima, your eyes, just boiling. And then, you can see, she smiled, a slow, chilling curve of her lips. Oh, I've seen everything, Ali. Every single one of your 17 mistakes. Wait, before I tell you what happened next, listen. Before I tell you what happened next, listen. Before I tell you what happened next, listen. If you believe a mother's love is a guiding light that never fades, hit that like button and subscribe right now. The anniversary party, celebrating 2 decades of what everyone believed was a devoted marriage, had been in full swing. Laughter and music filled their spacious home in a quiet Cairo suburb. The year 2021. Friends and family, around 50 people, mingled, oblivious. Ali had been the perfect host, doting on Fatima, his sightless angel, as he often called her. He guided her gently, his hand always on her arm, a picture of unwavering loyalty. For 20 years, since a tragic accident supposedly stole her sight shortly after their wedding, Fatima had navigated her world in darkness, or so he and everyone else believed. In truth, her eyes had healed within a year, but a different kind of darkness, a seed of suspicion planted by a careless whisper overheard, had taken root. She had chosen to remain blind, to watch, to wait, to test the man who had vowed to be her eyes. The test had yielded bitter fruit, meticulously documented. Fatima straightened, her posture no longer that of a woman reliant on others. She moved towards the large projection screen, set up for a nostalgic slideshow of their life together. Ali watched her, his face a mask of disbelief and dawning horror. What happened? What happened? What happened? What are you talking about, Fatima? He stammered, his voice barely audible above the sudden hush that had fallen over the room. One of the guests, Ali's older sister, Samira, approached them cautiously. Fatima, dear, are you feeling all right? Ali, what is this? Fatima ignored her. She picked up a remote control from a nearby table. For 20 years, I have been a burden, haven't I, Ali? The blind wife. The blind wife. Dependent, trusting. Her voice was calm, eerily so. But blindness can be a gift. It makes others careless. They forget you can still hear. They forget you can still feel. And sometimes, they forget you might just find a way to see what they truly are. She gestured to the screen. Instead of old photographs, my love, I have a film. A documentary, if you will, about our life. Our real life. Ali lunged for the remote. Fatima, don't! Whatever you think. She sidestepped him with an agility he hadn't seen in 2 decades. Think? Oh, I don't think. Ali, I know. She pressed a button. The screen flickered to life, not with smiling wedding photos, but with grainy yet clear footage. Their bedroom, a woman, not Fatima, in Ali's arms. The date stamp in the corner read 2003. A collective gasp went through the room. Ali froze, his face draining of all color. No, another scene. A different woman. A hotel room. 2007. Then another. An office after hours. 2011. And another. Their own guest room during a family visit. 2015. The woman was a distant cousin. The video played on. A relentless montage of betrayal. 17 different women in various locations over nearly 2 decades. Each clip was short, damning, clinically presented. Fatima's hidden cameras, some no larger than a button, had missed nothing. She had sewn them into her headscarves, placed them in innocuous household objects, even embedded one into the frame of the dark glasses she always wore. Samira shrieked, Ali, how could you? Other guests were shouting, some women crying. The festive atmosphere had shattered into a million pieces of disbelief and disgust. Ali sank to his knees, his hands covering his face. Stop it, Fatima, please stop it. Fatima watched him, her expression unyielding. Why, Ali? Ashamed? Are you ashamed that our family and friends finally see the devoted husband I've had all these years? The video continued. The 17th woman, young, barely an adult. The scene was from only 6 months ago. An old man, a respected family elder, stood up, his face grim. This is a disgrace, Ali. You have shamed us all. Ali looked up, his eyes wild with desperation, pleading with Fatima. I made mistakes. I was weak, but I loved you, Fatima. I took care of you. Took care of me? Fatima's voice dripped with venom. You paraded your pity for me while you betrayed me with every breath you took. Did you think my blindness made me deaf and stupid too? She clicked the remote again. The video of affairs stopped. The screen went dark for a moment. Then a new image appeared. It was audio waves with a date stamp from 19 years ago. There is one more recording, Fatima said, her voice dropping to a near whisper, yet it carried to every corner of the silent, horrified room. This one is special. This one explains why your 17 affairs were merely a symptom of a much deeper sickness. Ali's head snapped up. A new kind of fear, more profound than shame, contorted his features. Fatima, no, not that. Anything but that. Oh yes, Ali, she said softly. That, the truth you thought was buried forever. The truth about our Layla, their daughter, their only child, who had died at the age of 19 years ago. The official cause was a sudden aggressive fever. Fatima had been blind for less than a year then. The audio began to play. It was Ali's voice, younger, broken, sobbing. He was talking to someone, or perhaps just to himself, a drunken, weeping confession. She wouldn't stop crying. The fever. The doctor said it was just a fever, but she was burning up. I gave her the medicine, maybe too much. I just wanted her to sleep, to stop crying. I left the room for a minute, just a minute. When I came back, she wasn't breathing. Oh God, Layla, my baby. I killed my baby. The recorded sobs filled the room. Then, another voice, a man's, firm, cold. Pull yourself together, Ali. It was the fever. The medicine was correct. No one will know. Fatima is blind. She won't see the bottle. She won't question. It was an accident, a tragedy. We stick to that story. The second voice was identifiable. It was Ali's own father, long since deceased. The room was utterly still. The horror was absolute. Ali was on his feet now, swaying, his face a ghastly shade of gray. It was an accident. I swear. I never meant. He clutched his chest. Fatima, you knew all these years. You knew. Fatima's face was a mask of stone. I knew you lied about the fever. I knew you were frantic that night. I found the empty sedative bottle meant for adults the next day, hidden deep in the trash. My fingers weren't blind. I pieced it together. I suspected, but your father, he covered for you so well. And you let me grieve, thinking it was fate, while you carried the secret of your mistake. She took a step towards him. The affairs, Ali, they were just noise. This was the silence I lived in. The silence of knowing my child might have lived if not for your weakness, your lies. Ali gasped, his breath rattling in his chest. He stumbled towards her, one hand outstretched. Forgive me. His eyes rolled back. He collapsed to the floor. A heavy, final thud. Samira screamed, rushing to her brother's side. Ali! Chaos erupted. People were shouting for a doctor, for an ambulance. Fatima stood motionless, looking down at the man who had been her husband for 2 decades. The remote slit from her fingers. Before continuing, if you were Fatima and you discovered this devastating truth, what would you have done? Would you seek revenge or find another path? Write it in the comments. The crackling audio continued, filling the stunned silence. Ali's recorded voice, thick with despair, painted a horrifying picture. Just wanted her to sleep. So tired of the crying. Gave her a little extra. Just a drop. Went to check the mail. Wasn't gone long. Found her not breathing. Cold. The younger Ali sobbed uncontrollably on the tape. Then his father's voice, sharper, colder, cutting through the grief. The sedative bottle. Ali, did anyone see you? No? Good. Wash it. Get rid of it. The doctor said fever. That's the story. All right, let's leave it there. Fatima is blind. She won't see anything. It was the fever. Understand? For the family. For you. It was the fever. The recording clicked off. Ali, sprawled on the floor, his hands still clutching his chest, let out a final, ragged gasp. His body went still. Samira, who had been kneeling beside him, screamed, a raw, piercing sound of agony. Ali! No, brother! She shook his shoulder, then pressed her ear to his chest. She looked up at Fatima, her face streaked with tears and horror. He's... be there. He's not breathing. He's gone. The few remaining guests were frozen, staring at the scene. The dead husband, the weeping sister, the wife standing motionless, her eyes open, seeing everything. The distant wail of sirens grew louder, closer, then cut off abruptly outside the house. Heavy footsteps sounded on the path. The front door burst open, and uniformed police officers and paramedics rushed in. What's going on here? An officer demanded, taking in the scene. The ruined party, the body on the floor, the stunned crowd. out, Samira was sobbing over Ali's body. "He's dead. My brother is dead." A paramedic knelt beside Ali, checking for a pulse, confirming the obvious. Another officer approached Fatima. "Ma'am, are you the wife? Can you tell us what happened?" Fatima looked at the officer. Her face was calm, almost serene, a chilling contrast to the chaos around her. She didn't move from her spot. Her eyes, so recently unveiled, seemed to look through him, past him, into a distant, empty space. "What happened?" Fatima's voice was quiet, steady. "The truth happened." She gestured towards the projection screen, now blank, and then towards the small cassette player lying on the floor near the remote. "He confessed," she said. 19 years ago, he confessed to causing our daughter's death." The officer looked confused. "Daughter's death? Ma'am, your husband appears to have just died of a heart attack." "His heart gave out," Fatima agreed, her gaze fixed on the covered body of her husband. It couldn't bear the weight of the truth, not when it was finally spoken aloud for everyone to hear. She paused, and for the first time, her eyes seemed to focus on the officer, a strange, piercing intensity in their depth. "You see, officer, they all thought I was blind. For 20 years, since shortly after our Layla died. The trauma, they said, the shock." She took a slow, deliberate step forward, her eyes sweeping over the faces of the guests, the police, the paramedics. "My sight did fade for a time, but it returned slowly. Over years. But I kept the darkness. I kept the lie." She reached up and touched the corner of her eye, a phantom gesture towards the glasses she no longer wore. "He thought my blindness was a punishment for him to bear, a constant reminder of his care. He thought I was helpless, dependent. He grew careless. He thought his secrets were safe in the dark." Her voice hardened slightly. "But my darkness was my shield. It allowed me to watch, to listen, to gather evidence, not just of the women." She glanced towards the screen, though there were many, 17 to be exact, "but of the real secret, the one he and his father buried." She looked back at the officer. "The audio you just heard, that was his confession, recorded accidentally years ago when he was drunk and talking to himself, thinking I couldn't hear him from the next room. He thought his father had cleaned up everything, but he missed one little thing, one little recording." She stepped closer to Ali's body, looking down at it. "He thought my blindness was a weakness he had to endure. He was wrong. My blindness was the weapon he gave me. It allowed me to see him, truly see him, for 2 decades, while he thought he was hidden. And tonight, I showed the world what I saw." She straightened, her shoulders back. "He died because the truth was too much for him to face. For 19 years, I lived with that truth in darkness. Now, he gets to rest in it." The officer stared at her, then at the cassette player, then at Ali's body. The remaining guests whispered amongst themselves, their faces a mixture of shock, confusion, and dawning horror at the depth of the wife's long-game deception. Fatima turned away from the body, walking slowly through the ruined party space. She didn't look at anyone. Her eyes were open, seeing everything: the overturned chairs, the scattered food, the stunned faces, the flashing lights of the emergency vehicles visible through the windows. She walked towards the front door, her steps measured, her gaze fixed on something no one else could perceive. The house, once filled with the sounds of a party, then with screams and confessions, was now settling into a heavy, unnatural silence, broken only by the hushed voices of the police and the quiet weeping of Samira. Fatima stepped out of the house, leaving the wreckage behind. She didn't look back, she just kept walking. A woman who had spent 20 years in self-imposed darkness to expose a truth and had emerged into the light utterly alone. Her eyes were wide open, but they reflected only the vast, empty night sky.